So this one is going to be a bit personal. I'm going to give you a slight testimony, and I want to speak on VA disability claims for mental health because this has been a huge issue as of late, especially with these mental health proposals, which we aren't going to get into. This is not that video. Everyone always says this and that, like this person never deployed and they do not deserve the VA rating that they have, or they will say things like that veteran goes to the gym, how do they receive VA disability compensation? And I'm going to tell you the truth, and I really need some of you to listen. Okay, play this thing twice if that's what it takes. I'm going to talk about my personal experiences, and so for me, I have many deployments. I was infantry in the Marine Corps, and I deployed first to Afghan, to Helmand Province in Garmsur, and I also deployed to Syria during the Battle of Raqqa. Now, I have many other deployments in between that. The Marine Corps, we have things called MEWs, but it's essentially a bunch of Marines on a ship in an ocean hating their lives. And I've done many small deployments all across the world to include like Haiti, Thailand, Philippines, Iraq, tons of other places in a very short, like 1 month, 1.5 months type deals there. But the easiest deployment I've ever done was the 31st MEW out, which is based out of Okinawa, Japan. I'm telling you straight up, 1,000% that the Okinawa deployment was by far the hardest for me. It weighed on me more mentally than all the other deployments that I've done. And I'm very serious about that. I'm not joking. In Afghan, my first deployment as a young boot, it was just me. Single old me, no kids. Life was great. That's a slight joke. I got 4 kids now. And the only thing I had to worry about was the task at hand. Nothing else. Just me and the boys doing infantry stuff. Pretty cool. For Oki, and at that point I had 2 kids. Obviously, a lot of time has elapsed. Afghan was my first deployment. Okinawa was my last deployment. Major events had happened, but little did I know Oki was going to be the last thing that I would do in the Marine Corps. But having 2 kids, having internet access, a bed to sleep in, chow 3 times a day or more if I wanted it, having a PX, going to the fast food court, I mean, whatever we wanted to do, luxury beach fronts, Wi-Fi in the room, video games. I mean, anything you could ask for, we had it. We bought our own car for like $300 to explore Oki and do all the Oki Marine things that everyone does. And life was really great in Oki. And we did anything we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, right? Outside of working hours, of course. And I'm here to tell you that being away from my kids with all those amenities weighed on me exponentially more than my time anywhere else. And it's not even close. I used to say that Oki wasn't a real deployment. I used to be one of those people that say like Kuwait isn't a real deployment. But I'm telling you, after that Oki pump, which was in 2018, I understand that sacrifice has much more to do with it than just being in combat. Which is why you will see veterans without combat with mental health ratings. They may struggle to connect emotionally with their children, especially if they were away from those crucial developmental years of the child's life. And when they come back home, the service member, right, that veteran feels like an outsider in their own home, which sucks. I mean, if you've ever felt that, it absolutely sucks. When they hold their child, they don't feel like the child's parent. And that's a very real thing. And that will lead many to substance abuse or even commit suicide and a billion other little things that are involved with mental health. So before you point your fingers at who deserves what based on your internal made up deserving scale that you invented and no one else cares about but you, I want you to keep this video in mind. I also want you to mind your business, okay? And that'd be the nice way to say it. Now, for me personally, my stuff originated from my other deployments, but I can tell you those symptoms did not become apparent to me until I was in Oki living my best life, right? It kind of just steam trained straight through And it was a wild, I'm not going to get into all that, obviously, but stuff was going down, okay? Food for thought, mind your business. Stay focused on your VA disability claims. Look at the big three: the in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the Nexus. Submit those evidence-based claims and aim to be properly rated. Don't look at Joe Schmo, who's rated for 50% for mental health or 70% for mental health and never deployed, because you don't know what the heck is happening in Joe Schmo's life. And if there is fraud, the VA will find it. If you sub to VA OIG reports, I promise you, you'll see the VA OIG charge and convict. Well, they will be convicted through court of law for fraud. And that does happen way more than you think it does. But let the VA handle that. We submit evidence-based claims. You're looking at, Lance Corporal Smuckatelli in the gym, and you're like, how does that person receive VA disability compensation? Little do you know, they might have a 10% rating for their back and 10% ratings for each legs, and that's their musculoskeletal ratings, right? They could have mental health, sleep apnea, migraines, other issues that don't really affect the body system when it comes to going to the gym. But a 10% back rating could be pain with motion. So they can still go to the gym and be healthy and work on their hamstrings and their glutes and their other muscles to relieve the stress from the back. Hello, that's physical therapy. If you go to physical therapy for your lower back, you're going to work out, and they're going to work out the other muscle groups to relieve that stress from your lower back. Now, obviously, there are other treatments. It depends what's going on. But just because someone's in the gym ain't got nothing to do with VA disability. That's why the disability word, the D word, is bad. I wish if the VA does anything, I want them to change VA disability. Just cut that out and straight up call it VA compensation, right? You rent a car, you put a ding in that car, you're going to pay for that ding in the car. It still drives. It's still going to get you from point A to point B. It's going to look ugly, right? Now, in the rental car scenario, or analogy, you can repair the car door, can't really repair the veteran. So it's VA compensation. It's not necessarily disability as far as Social Security is concerned, right? And I know it's disabilities, right, is your efficiency to work, blah, 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 blah. I got it. I just wish the VA would call it VA compensation instead of VA disability, because we got turds who are veterans, by the way. We have turds out there pointing the fingers at who deserves what based on their internal moral compass scale that is deeply, deeply flawed. Mind your business.